Well, when Jonathan first called me and asked me to give a talk, and the theme was filling the void, I thought that's incredible. How would he know? That's what I've been working on for like 50 years. I've been trying to do it the whole time, diligently, but largely unsuccessfully. And I'm not talking about filling the void out in society. I was talking about filling the void in here. That's what I was searching for my whole life. Before I go any further, get that telephone. Before I go any further, I'm just going to put up this disclaimer, just in case someone might construe something that I say as a nugget of wisdom. Remember, it didn't come from me. I stole it from someone. That's my disclaimer. Well, they also told me when I gave this talk, I should tell a little bit of my life story, and that I also have 6 minutes to do it. It's a pretty colorful story. But I'll give you the short strokes of it. This is my brothers and I kite flying contest in Long Island. We grew up in a really nice suburb in Long Island in a very modest way with two loving parents, loving brothers and sisters. We played sports. We flew kites. It was kind of like Leave It to Beaver meets Stand By Me. And everything was going along great until I was around 13 and a half years old. I was coming back from a tennis match and I was on a bicycle and I got hit by a car kind of at top speed. And it basically killed me. And then they got me back to life. And I ended up about a month later, I was in the hospital and I was in a cast up to here. I couldn't move anything but my arms. And I was into magic, so I practiced sleight of hand. And soon I was doing it for the other kids in the ward, but I would have to do it upside down because I couldn't sit up, so I would do magic like that. And I practiced magic a lot. In fact, when I got out of the hospital, I became a professional magician. That's my first business card. I became a professional magician. I missed a couple of years of school. I went back to high school. I barely got out of high school. Then I went to college. I did not get out of college. Well, I got out. I got thrown out. And I ended up selling cars in Long Island. That's where I ended up. Promises largely unfulfilled. And a guy came into my car dealership one day, and he said, "Kid, you're in the wrong place. You should come to Wall Street. You become a multimillionaire." And I thought, wow, that sounds great. That's exactly what I want to do. Go to Wall Street and become a millionaire. I'm leaving the car business. It was fantastic. And I went to Wall Street and I got involved in biotechnology. It was very exciting then. It was the early 80s. There was about 6 biotechnologies. And since we're on the stock exchange, it's interesting to know, I think today there's about 6,500. It was 6,000 when I left. And in the beginning, it was very exciting. I was out there with Amgen and Genentech where they were first building their facilities and people were discovering new things. It was an exciting area. But towards the end of my run in biotechnology, it was a lot more of sitting around hardcore lawyers' offices fighting over 144 stock. Not quite as exciting. Again, I was left a little bit unfulfilled. It wasn't quite the dream I was thinking of. And then one day, something amazing happened. This man, Jonas Salk, knocked on the door of my house in New York City. Someone sent Jonas Salk to me, of all people. And so Jonas and I, we met. That's in the foyer of my house. We met and we became fast friends. Jonas was a giant. He was a giant thinker. He was a giant humanitarian. Every moment I've ever spent with Jonas in my life is some of the most treasured moments I'll ever have. Jonas was a big thinker. He liked to do what his t-shirt said. He liked to subvert the dominant paradigm. Jonas taught me how to think. He was on Bill Moyer's once, I think. We were working on HIV vaccine, and Bill Moyer said, "Well, Dr. Salk, will there ever be an answer for HIV?" And Jonas said a little bit antsy, "The answer is right in front of our noses. We have to develop a question that will unlock the answer." And that's what Jonas was all about. You have to ask the questions. You have to look for questions. We were driving down the highway once to the Salk Institute, and there was a big sign there that said, "Jesus is the answer." Jonas looked at me and said, "What's the question?" I thought, it's pretty good. He's a smart guy. Well, that was my last time to see Jonas on that trip to the Salk Institute. I got back to New York City, and I got the phone call, Jonas passed away the night before. That was like the rug got pulled out from under me. I was flying when I was with Jonas. Again, unfulfilled. And I had this photographer hanging around my house at the time, and he was like, "Do you want to go to Africa with some supermodels, do some nude photos, ride elephants, swim with crocodiles, look for rhinos?" I said, "Yes, I would very much like to do that. That would be fantastic." And I did that, and I did that for 10 years. And I became a photo curator for Peter Beard, and I did all these books, and I put up these shows, and we did all these trips to Africa, and we went all over the world. But After 10 years of that, in 2002, I broke up with Peter, and here I was again, empty and unfulfilled once again. It was like I'd been shoveling water into a net for 10 years. I kept pulling it up to see how I did. There's nothing there. Came up empty. It was good for him. It was nothing for me. I didn't feel any success. People thought I was very successful. I lived in a big house. I had lots of things. But to coin a phrase, void, unfulfilled. A giant void in me, unfulfilled. I felt nothing. I felt nothing. And I knew I had to make some art. And that's what I was into doing. And I like to tear up books, and I did a lot of collage in the previous 10 years. And one day I was tearing up these dictionary pages, really kind of lost. I was not a part of the art world or famous artist or anything like that, and I really didn't think I ever would be. And I came across one of the guide words on this dictionary. It said courage. I thought I'll look up the word courage and see what that says. I looked it up, and it said this. I was stunned. I realized I never knew what courage meant. Courage meant calmness. It comes from the Latin word cor, corazon, the heart. It means calmness in your heart. I didn't know that. And I thought, God, that's what I'm going to make a painting of. I'm going to take these dictionary pages, and I'm going to put them down, and I'm going to do a painting, and I'll put the exact definition of courage on top of it, make a big painting that says courage. Now, I didn't think this was a career. I didn't think this was going to be financially viable. I didn't think anything. I just wanted to make this thing, and I didn't even think it really qualified as a piece of art. I had never seen anything like that. But a couple days later, a guy came into my gallery. He was the CEO of a big company. He said, Tunney, I love that painting. Courage, I want to buy it. And he bought it, no questions asked. It was the most money I ever got for a painting. It's like, wow, this story is getting too good. And I had a thought that day, and I thought, I've got to paint some more courage. That's what I got to do. This is working, you know. So I did, and I painted some more courage, and I also painted Remain Calm, which came out of courage. And I painted a gratitude, and things started coming out of me. Things were changing in my life. Things were becoming better. It was incredible. And I got asked to donate a painting to a charity event one night, and I went to this big charity event. There's about 500 people. Madonna was there and all these people. And I think I donated a painting. It said, the world is not half as bad as you are. And they sold it too for a lot of money. But that night there was a woman on stage, and she had a candle, and she was talking about giving away your light and giving away your energy and what can you give away. And I thought it was kind of corny. And she reached down and she lit the person at the front table's candle and instructed them to pass it around the room. Within about 2 minutes, 500 people holding up the candles in this dark room. It was magnificent. It was like a surreal aura that she had created, this quiet little woman. And then she just said, with her burning candle, you see, I haven't lost anything. Wow, that was a powerful demonstration. She did a lot of work in there without losing anything. And I wanted to do something like that with courage. I wanted to leverage up. At this time, I really wanted to put up maybe a big wall in New York City. It would look something like this. I wanted to do big walls and murals that said courage. And I started talking to people about it. And one of the guys that I talked to said, I could do these billboards with you, Tunney, but this was like 2 years into it. Everyone else said it was impossible. I made another painting at the time called City of Dreams. And I submitted him all these high-res images to this billboard company. It was quite a tangential process and complicated. But I was now living in the city of dreams. It was no longer a city of frustration and trying to get what I want. It was a city of dreams. Things were happening. So he called me up one day and he said, Tunney, tomorrow morning, coming through the Midtown Tunnel, you see your billboard. And I drove into New York City and I saw this. It's 100 feet. It said City of Dreams. But that wasn't the billboard I wanted. I wanted courage. He just took whatever the first high-res image he had from a year ago was and just popped it up on the billboard. It said City of Dreams. It was an accident. On the other side of it, he put up this painting. Nothing happens unless first a dream. I saw that when I drove home that night. I didn't bother to ask what was on the other side. Both of these paintings were accidents. And that informed me to make my next work of art, which I sold. There are no accidents. And it reminds me, going back to my car accident, that was something that at the time I thought was the worst thing that could possibly happen to me, getting hit by a car and taking me out of school. And as it turns out, I could stand here tonight for sure, walking around on this stage as one of the most blessed, grateful people ever. That accident was really one of the greatest gifts I ever got. Because that tuned me into how lucky I am to be here. That tuned me into I can't waste one single second or one day because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen when we leave here tonight. So we've got to get it in today. And for that, I have a lot of gratitude. In fact, my project is called the Gratitude Project, and I like to go around and put up gratitude billboards. But my real idea was that you would go into a city And you would see like gratitude, remain calm, everything is okay. And these would just be towering beacons above the city. And last month I went to the Toronto Film Festival, and again, kind of by accident, I saw this. That's not a photoshopped image. That's a CN Tower. Gratitude. Today is the day. Don't panic. It all happened. And I don't know how these messages get absorbed into society. I do hear some testimonials back. But this is not an altruistic story, I'm telling you. I didn't do this to go out there and try to give people all this gratitude. I was trying to fill the void inside me. But it gives me a great feeling knowing I have these billboards up all over the world now. We have 30 billboards in Canada right now. We have over 1 million cars a day going by just gratitude billboards right now for 3 years. That's a lot of math. I don't know how many that is, but that's a lot of people. And that just gives me a good feeling that I'm on the right road and makes me very thankful to do what I do. Thank you.